Okay. We already have people waiting.
I know. It's
Wake up,
good.
Topher. I'm never gonna live up the Topher thing, am I? You
You
guys are gonna
joked
enjoy the.
you
You
joked
guys
about it, and it's your curse now.
forever the Topher thing. I never thought that. I remember when Topher Grace was like chose that like when Topher Grace came on the scene, and I was like, I didn't know that could be a name. I thought that was a
Hmm.
joke, that I could do. So anyway, how are you doing, Ella? So everyone, prayers for Ella. She's in the middle of a storm. So just so we don't want to lose her.
Joe's in the same storm that I'm in. You know.
Oh, Joe's in the same store.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Joe, I prayers for Joe too. Prayers, thoughts and prayers for
Thoughts and
everyone.
prayers.
Thoughts and prayers for everyone. Thoughts and prayers. So we hope everyone is going to be okay. So it's good to see everyone today. We've been kind of quiet this week with live streaming. Ella and I have been insanely busy. There's been so much going on that we're so much like I'm glad you guys enjoyed the web comics. We've got I'm in the middle of working on the next page right now and a bunch of other art. Your sketch requests that are in the tube from before, those are coming out too. So much is happening. Oh, by the way, special shout out to Mark, because Mark is the one who found the typeface that I use in the comics. He had tagged me the day before I put it out on this typeface that this artist had put out for comics, and I literally was going to go with it completely with my classic set that I use, and then we found this one, and because of Mark. So huge shout out to Mark for doing that. So thank you, Mark. You found a very very awesome typeface, and that is your doing. So, anyways, um, Entity warns us that you both legally cannot die. More specifically, Ella, that is illegal. Well, apparently
Well,
I'm
now that I
disposable.
was thinking about it, but now that you guys said something, I guess I'll try to hold out a little bit.
Anyway, so today, welcome everyone. So today we're going to be doing a how to draw session. I'm going to teach you about hands today and how to draw hands.
I'm so
And
scared. I'm
I
so
was just
scared.
telling Ella before I just told her right before, I was like, don't be scared. This is
It
actually a
didn't work.
lot easier than you think, right? Now, it doesn't mean that one live stream suddenly you're going to be perfect at it, right?
Hmm.
It comes down to like understanding how to break down hands. I think hands are complicated because first of all, they are very complicated when you look at your hands. Like just everything about them is, and how they work. But when you break them down into pieces and study how a hand is built, it will make a huge difference in your understanding of how to draw it. Also,
Okay.
I have this little thing. I actually don't use this much. I bought this a while back, but I thought it was kind of fun. But the reason I pulled it out was because it actually is great for showing, um, understanding like the different, like your joints and the different like segments of each hand. Like for
Hmm.
example, if you study your hand, you can look at your own hand. You don't need a fancy. This is not even fancy. It's a crappy wooden thing, but it accents it, right? You can
Hmm.
see the different segments, right? So each hand has three segments. Each finger has three segments, but they all align differently, right? Like you don't see it; it doesn't go in a straight line,
Hmm.
right? So when you understand, when you're breaking down a hand to understand it, you need to understand the different rules and like when we talk about perspective a lot or like proportions, and I'm
Hmm.
like understand the proportions or use the 90-degree rule whenever I showed you guys how to decide where to connect a hand to the shoulder, right? Like how to know where your elbow is. If you
Yeah.
understand those kind of rules and remember them, it's so much easier. And you're like, oh, that's why this hand isn't working, right? So I'm going to switch over now, and I'm going to pull this out if we ever need it for this discussion. Um, but I just love how it can like this is like
Hmm.
anyway. Um, I'm gonna start showing you guys on the screen how to like do a simple hand and how to break it down, and you can draw along with me and study your own hand. I also advise using your camera on your phone to take pictures of your own hand, right? Like put it in different poses and study it. Take a picture of your hand and then put it on the screen and then break it down, right? Like if you have Photoshop or something, take a picture of your hand in a particular pose, like let's say this looks super complicated, but this is actually not a complicated pose to draw once you know how to break things down. Put it in Photoshop, right? And then like put a layer over it and draw over it and understand where all the pieces are. Okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna switch. Let's switch views here.
We have to be better than the AI, you know? That's
Yeah,
the
oh
one
my
goal.
gosh, yeah. This is the one thing that's keeping us from being taken over by AI is our ability to draw
Is our
hands.
hands.
Yes. So let me make sure you guys can see. Okay, hold on. That's not bright enough. That's not big enough. Oh, and I gotta put the little background music. We had already chosen that. Okay, it should not be loud. Okay, because Ella and I calibrated it before. But if it's too loud, let us. Okay, working. Okay, you can see that right? Yeah.
You have the music, I have the rain ambiance. We're the
Oh,
perfect,
okay.
like, mix.
All right, so let's look at the different parts of a hand. If I were to just draw a hand like this, your hand really is simplified into really three parts. If we draw, let me make this thicker. Hold on. You've got the palm of the hand, which is essentially like a square. If you want to draw it really simple, you've got a square. That's part one. Part two is the thumb, which the thumb is always its own thing. It doesn't, a lot of trouble that people have is when they try to make the thumb its own, like a finger connected to the palm. The thumb always is its own, has its own rules. It's its own universe here, right? So if you look at your palm, in fact, it almost looks like a chicken wing, right? Doesn't it? Like not a chicken, what a drumstick, right? Like if you look here, this line right here where it connects kind of creates that drumstick right here, that box right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is your drumstick. You all have a drumstick. Trademark, copyright. I just invented that, so that's all me. Pay all your royalties to me for the drumstick. So that's part two. So this is part two, which we're gonna call the drumstick, right? And then part one is the palm. All right. Then next is your fingers. Right now, the fingers is the third part, and a lot of times there's so many different methods. One of the easiest methods that if you want to try is really great for beginners is to do what is basically the 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 glove, the mitten technique, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is basically where you put, I'm going to put this on its own layer so I can show you how this works. So we've got this basic hand here, but if I just wanted to draw a hand like this, just like a stop hand,
Mm-hmm.
you draw mitten like this, and that creates the shape. And then if you're looking here at the, you can count out, depending on how many fingers your character has. You got your four fingers here. And then you just carve them out, right? Right, that's one way to do it. What's cool about that is that you can try different ways with the fingers. So if I wanted to create a hand that was doing this, where it's like let's say I was trying to do what's it called, live long and prosper, right? Like this. This is actually easier than you think because if you look at the shape of my hand, it creates this fan shape, right? So if I go up
Mm-hmm.
here and I create a fan, essentially like that, and then I group the fingers. So remember, it's doing this. So I've got essentially, right? And by creating that shape, by drawing that shape on top, it helps you create, helps you align the hands, right? One of my favorite, whenever I draw a hand, I usually do this kind of, if someone is waving, for example, I will do this kind of grouping. I'll usually group two of these together like this. See? Now you've got a hand that, this is the typical kind of hand I'll do when I'm waving, for example. You know, I usually put the two middles together, and it's just a aesthetic choice that I made.
How do you know the length of the fingers?
So always, if you're ever having trouble, the best thing I would advise is to start with the middle finger, because the middle finger is going to
Mm-hmm.
be the tallest, right? I do it
Yeah.
because I'm so used to it now. I know where the fingers, how long they are. But um, usually your fingers, depending on your character, like sometimes the characters um, eh, have really long fingers, they have spindly fingers, you know, whatever the case may be. Sometimes the fingers are as long as, like, if you look at this, can be as long as your palm itself. Like the middle finger is as big as the palm. If you want
Mm-hmm.
to look at proportions, like if you look at my hand, it's essentially, the middle finger is essentially the width of the palm. So as long as you're doing something like that, you're generally within shape. Now, some people have really long, spindly fingers, right? Not everyone's palms and hand proportions are the same. But if you want to do like main character, kind of like, you know, typical, you know, this is Hugo's hand, for example. His hand would look like this, right? Because he's got
Mm-hmm.
a well proportioned hand. Um, and when you're drawing, so we've got those general shapes. Now, this is an easy one to draw, right? Like if you're going to draw something like this. But if you need to draw something that's more complex, so let's start playing with. I was doing a kind of this earlier, right, or something like this. The palm is really what holds everything together. And let me move this. So if I wanted to draw, so actually a fun game is to play with drawing different palm shapes.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, you're gonna see a really weird shape that I'm gonna draw right here, but you'll see what it is in a second. So this is a palm right here, and I start with the palm itself. So it's like a 3D shape here. This is the inside of the palm right here. This right here is the inside. And then if I break this down into four sockets, right where the fingers go, leaving just a little space between, right? Then what you can do is you can put, um, you can start filling in the fingers, right? And it's usually the best way to do it is to draw the underside is kind of like, if you look at this exaggerated version, the underside of the top of the hand, the fingers is usually pretty straight, right? I don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom where the little pillows are, I call them, they're like pillows, like these little like cloud pillow things. Like that's how
Mm-hmm.
you distinguish the pad of your hand from the bottom. So we've got we're gonna draw a 3D hand, so we'll do like this. So it's like you have these like you see how I'm able to like relatively quickly sketch out this hand just by breaking it down into the pieces. I kind of know where the joints are. There's always, with the exception, the only one that really has is a little different is the thumb. It doesn't have as many segments, at least visibly, that you can see, but it's like this. And then when I put the thumb here, the thumb is like the wild card, right? It's like if I want to have the thumb, like let's say I wanted to do something like that, I would start putting in here a cube to represent the drumstick bending, you know, doing like this. That is a terrible thumb. Just a bit. Generally speaking. So understanding like the different constituent parts of the hand is going to make a huge difference in like in drawing it. And there's a drawing I did, one of my favorite hands I think I ever drew. Where is that thing? Hold on. Is the one that I drew for Hugo and Kazuo doing the they're like looking over a crystal ball. Or even this one. Here's a great one. Look. So if you can see this one that I did, I'm going to trace over it so you guys can kind of see where how I constructed these hands, because these hands look have that 3D look that I was trying to show you earlier. So I'm gonna, this is what I'm trying to teach you to do when you see to practice, is to find either pictures of your own hand or find artists or drawings that you like and then trace over them and figure out how did they do that one. So when we look at this hand, for example, let's look at this one over here. Actually, let's start here. This is kind of, when we look at this hand, you can see that if I were to, if I were to trace the palm itself, here's the palm shape, right? It's something like this. Oh, hold on. Never mind. I'm not following my own advice. Hold on. It's like this. It's like a 3D mushy square, right? Like this. And you can see the connection points of where the fingers come from. Right? They're here. And then you've got the drumstick here. What's that?
Oh, there's a lot of food reference.
I find that if you like connect it with that, if you connect it with that kind of imagery, you remember. You know?
Yeah.
Let me do this a little. So deconstructing this. There's that 3D square. And then from here, we've got this finger coming out. We've got this finger. We've got this finger. Then we've got the drumstick right here. I think thumbs are a lot of fun to draw. And then as we look closer here, if we study the fingers themselves, you can see here's the knuckle. Here's this. It's almost like, I saw them one time referred to as like bananas. Like the fingers, if you think about them as bananas, they kind of have this shape. Oops. If you draw this and then break down the constituent parts, right? You have the pillowy side here that I was talking about, which is your pads of your fingers, right? And then the top part stays. It's like a croissant. Since we're going down the food analogies, it's like a croissant, right? Or whatever, a baguette or whatever that is. So bananas, some people say sausages. It's really, sausages are not really a good like analogy for fingers because they're completely they're completely uniform.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say like a banana which has that curve to it. Those are probably better analogies for that. Here, this particular hand too. If we look at this, let's look at how that think of it like a piece of toast or something, like a fat piece of toast. Right? So you see, it's like a fat piece of toast. Then we've got where the fingers, we've got the sockets where the fingers are going to go in, and we've got our drumstick over here, right? And then when we look at these individual fingers, I sometimes like to first connect it to the hand and then extend out so that I can to help me like anchor it. Now, I have a particular way that I draw fingernails. I actually draw them like toenails, and they actually should have a different shape to them. Like they should probably look more like this, like more of a curve. I don't like drawing that. I for some reason I don't like how that looks when I draw it. So I prefer to draw them more like a little more toenail style like this. So no, Hugo does not have any defects. It's just that it's just how it is. It's how I like to draw it. So if you notice, that's a little
That's
trick.
how I cut my nails. I cut my nails straight across.
See, I cut mine too, but when I look at them down, like when I look at my fingers, there's like, if I look at them straight down, if I see them at an angle, they look more like this, right? But if I draw his finger, if I were to draw his finger like this, I don't know if I would draw the fingernail like that. I would probably draw it more like this, like this. But that's just my aesthetic choice of how I do it.
Yeah, my drawing right now, I won't be sending you pictures this time because mine looks like a Pokemon. It looks like a circle with arms coming out of it, like a bunch of arms instead of like fingers. So
It's okay. When you're ready and brave, you can show me.
I will not be showing you this one.
Okay.
This
Okay.
one is
Well, whenever you feel like you're ready at some point, that you can show me.
I'm gonna finish it as a Pokemon, and then I'll show you.
Okay. That's fair. We can do that. So this other one is one that was a lot of fun to do, and I'm seeing in the comments that Liv is talking about hand shapes. That's another thing too. Women and men in general have different hand shapes. Usually, if you see these hands here, when I draw male character hands, they're usually more boxy, and they're more like boxy. I don't know how else to explain it. They're more boxy. When I draw female hands, they're slimmer, and they're more. You don't have as much of the detail on it. It's more like finer lines, and like, for example, if I were to draw over here, like a male hand versus a female hand, a female hand would be, oops, that's a terrible example. If I were to use these kind of like general shapes, say this is kind of more my exaggerated design language. This would be female and this would be male. Generally. They're just boxier, and that's just general design language for just the way I do it. Going back to this picture, when we look at this example again, as another example, this one has a different perspective that we haven't talked about yet. Look at this. If I were to, when I drew this from scratch, I drew it like this. I broke this down. I first drew that, I don't know what, like I said, fat piece of toast. I don't know what else you call it. Fat piece of toast. All right. So the palm. Then I had the spaces for the joints for where the fingers connected, and then we have the drumstick over here, right? And then the fingers, attach from here. And the best thing to do is, and you see here how it's a banana shape. We kind of have this. We have this shape here that you see the bend in the top. It's flat but bended. The same over here. And the more extreme you push that curve, the more energy your drawing has. With the more extreme, I like to try to push as much as I can without breaking my own style right now, because I just have a particular style. But the more you can see, and as I start taking this away, you'll see it. The more you can bend that, thing. So you're always playing with this kind of shape, this kind of, if you want to call it a banana, if you want to call it a sauce, not sauce, a very weirdly cut lemon wedge, whatever. That's basically the pieces you're working with.
I can't wait to clip this video.
To what? To clip this video?
I said I'm gonna clip this video. I'm gonna clip this video, and the short that you guys are gonna see about this video, instead of all of the great drawing tips, it's just gonna be a tally of how many times he refers to something as food.
Okay, so let's say we're gonna let's say now we're gonna try a different perspective on that hand. If you wanted to draw, like, let's say a fist, if you wanted to draw like a fist like this,
Mm-hmm.
the way you would do, oh, I lost my screen. I want to make sure you guys. Okay, so when we start drawing the fist, we're gonna draw the piece of toast, right? This. Then what I would do is you start carving out where the fingers are going to come out of. Oops. I sometimes put a double line between like this, it's just to give me space between the fingers. Because there is a space between your fingers. It may be small, but it helps you put them at a better better placement. Okay, then we're gonna start curving in our we're gonna start putting here, like, okay, so we're gonna have our knuckles here. I want to make sure this is on the screen properly. Okay, yeah. And then we're gonna start putting in. Let me put this on another layer here. put in the drumstick here, which is now kind of a drumstick with a broken bone part. So that you bend over. Oh, sorry, that's not good. You see how I treat the thumb differently? You have to treat it differently. And when you think of it separately from the rest of the hand, it's completely, it's a whole different it's a whole different it makes your life easier because your brain is able to then think of the hand mechanically in different parts. And by looking at a hand from that perspective, from the perspective of it being different parts, it's easier for your brain to be like, okay, I need to position the things, where they need to be. And if there's something wrong, you'll be able to tell. Now, this comes from a lot of practice. Okay, it's not like suddenly you're going to watch one YouTube video or watch one live stream or whatever, and that you're suddenly going to become good at drawing hands. Maybe you will. I don't know. Maybe it'll click. For me, it took a little
I
bit.
will.
You will. I know you will. So it it um it comes over time of practice because your brain starts remembering it. So what I would do if I were you is, as you're learning to draw hands, I think what I would do is I would start playing with the different shapes, like draw just fingers, right? Like draw fingers for once, like play with that shape of that we were talking about. Um, Break apart, just draw the different ways that you can draw um, a palm, right? Like a palm is more flexible than you think. If you look at your hand and all the different shapes it can do. Like if you wanted to draw a hand doing this, right? Like something like this, you'd probably do something like, all right, don't judge me on this. I'm going to try to do this on the fly. So we're going to draw the toast here like this. Hide where the fingers go. And then we'll put the thumb. We'll do it. Okay, so you can see the thumb. I'm going to put it here. Thumb is its own shape. Hold on. I am screwing this up. This is the ugliest hand I've ever drawn in my life, but I'm trying to draw it without looking at my hand for this reference and trying to show it to you. But this isn't getting exactly what I want, but if I had time, if I was like not being watched by all you guys, and I probably could draw this better, but it's essentially supposed to be this, right? So let's forget I drew that hand and let's go back over here to these hands that I drew that are much prettier. See, even when you know what you're doing, it doesn't mean that it's going to always come out right. So, um, these hands right here are a little more sign that I know what I'm doing. So Ella, ask me questions, or we can take a couple questions from the crowd. Want? What do you got?
Um, I just am amazed. I'm taking
Amazed
it
at how
in.
bad I can draw a hand. We're gonna like
No,
censor
no,
this.
no. You did really good. Let me send you a picture. Let me send you a picture of what I
Okay,
did.
let's see.
I said that I wouldn't, and then I was like, actually, I will.
Let's see what you got.
Okay, you'll have to forgive this. Because I started doodling around it, and I was definitely listening during class.
You
But
doodled around it. Okay.
I started to doodle. And I drew Hugo underneath it. Like he had. I made this really big fist, and then I drew a really tiny Hugo underneath it, like he had changed his hand shape with Karmistry or something.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what. This is super cute, Ella. This is okay. I'm gonna paste this in. This is super cute. Look at her view. Look at his giant ear. This is actually super cute. I love this. There needs to be a whole set of like. I don't want to draw the comics anymore. Let's just do these. Let's just do Ella-vision. Ella-vision. That's what we're calling instead of television. Ella-vision. Ella-vision comic. What do you think? That's super cute. But you drew a good hand. You drew a good hand.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's still a little messy. I still have a lot of the pieces around it, but then I was like, I want to draw Hugo.
I like the Taurus. That's super cute, actually.
And
You
his
actually
giant
included
ears.
that.
Yeah.
That's really cute. So, remember, Ella, can you name the three parts that I talked about earlier? If you were to break down a hand,
toast, banana, and drumstick.
toast, banana, and drumstick. That's right. You got it.
It's like a weird banana split.
It's right. It's like a really weird banana split. It's toast, banana, drumstick. Yes, that's right. That's a great way to remember.
Yay! Where's my clapping? Where's
Oh,
my
oh,
sound
oh!
effect?
Hold on. Wait. Let me. Where's the button? Oh, I gotta find the sound effects button. Hold on. Here we go.
Yay! I'm learning.
Very good. Very good. See, that was excellent. So, the key thing is this is only going to come from practice naturally. You know, breaking down the hands into those shapes, playing with different designs. You know, that's what's going to get you to you know, to get better at drawing the hand. And it's okay. Like, it's also going to get to a point where you don't have to structure the hand completely. It doesn't mean that you have to structure every joint. In fact, when you get too stiff with the structure, sometimes, oh my gosh, sorry. I slept well, by the way. The last 2 nights, I got 8 hours of sleep. Well, previous night I got 7. I got 8 hours last night, Ella. Can you believe that? See, I'm working hard at improving my health, and I said I would do it. So
yay!
Yes. So yeah, that's your hand lesson on it. Short,
Simpler,
quick,
honestly,
simple.
yeah, simpler than I thought. I just need to do it more.
Well, if you guys go to like, I have a if you go to my Pinterest page, let's see if I put it in the. I've got a cool like little. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I have a reference. Here, I'm putting it in the chat. You guys can go. I've got a bunch of references in there, you guys, that I've been saving over the years that I think are really good. Little things that you guys can use for art. Go to that. Go to that Pinterest. I've got it organized. Hand, you know, head, eyes, teeth. Like I have everything like organized in different things, and there's a lot of really great references. there that you guys can. So anyway, well, wait, Ella, are you going to do our product placement? Are you going
Yeah.
to?
So,
Okay.
you guys should get the Flux Destiny shirt. I keep doing the wrong side. Flux Destiny, and I'm gonna try to show the back. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. Let me see
So
if I can.
she got the Yapper shirt,
I
which
did.
is
I got it because I was like, you know what? I talk a lot, and that's perfect. So I gotta move my hair out of the way. Okay, here we go. Let me know if you can see it. Can you
look
see
how
Hugo?
big that is.
I know it's huge. It's
It's
really
huge
big.
on the back.
Yeah, he's big.
And look, those hands on that shirt use the methods I'm telling you. When I drew those hands on that shirt, I used those exact methods I've been teaching you. And look, they turned out okay. I
Yeah,
think
they
they
turned
turned
out
out
great.
okay. So if you go to if you're interested in grabbing a shirt, go to merch.fluxdestiny.com and that's where you can buy them. Jacoby, yours came in. How does it look? Which color did you get? I don't know if there's a pink Taurus shirt because I think the Taurus is. I don't remember if there's a pink one. There might be.
There's a lot of different. It might be on one of the different styles too, because there's a lot of different styles.
Yeah, there's so many different styles that you can get, and then the delivery boy shirt released yesterday or yesterday, yeah, yesterday. So that's a cool one too. I can't wait to get it because the design's gonna be really big back. So anyway, I want to do one of like that Hugo that's become like basically like our like our icon, which is just him waving, that one that I use for everything. I need to think of a way to make a shirt out of that. I don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah, I have an idea for the next what I want the next shirt to be. It's sort of one reminiscent of our Jackbox t-shirts.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, we need to do those too.
I
Yeah.
I think Devil Hugo needs to make a comeback. And
You
I
think
think a
so?
shirt is the perfect place for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because there was a lot of Devil Hugo worshippers, and so I'm gonna have to do that for sure.
We started the stream with thoughts and prayers. We ended it with devil worship. That's Flux Destiny.
That's right. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Go check out the Pinterest reference thing. I think it's going to be a lot of help. I've painstakingly organized and built that over the years. That's helpful. Go grab a shirt, support Flux Destiny, and if you're not in Patreon, go join Patreon. Hello to my
Tomorrow we're
patrons here.
dropping more stuff.
Yes, we are. Tomorrow we are dropping more stuff. That's right. And then Thursday, so tomorrow, new story chapter, and Thursday is another page on the webcomic. So a lot going on. Anyways, thank you, Ella. Thank you, guys. Talk to you later. Bye bye.